Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker, Kate Harbour. Kate comes to us as the Interim Deputy Director of the Eastern Oregon Visitor Center Association. Please welcome Miss Kate Harbour. Thank you.
Switch out my power. I have people to help me switch out the PowerPoint. So. Great. With that taken care of. My name again is Kate Harbour with the Eastern Oregon Visitors Association. And I'm based in La Grande, but we do serve the 11 counties and 2 federally recognized tribes of Eastern Oregon. And I have to say I appreciate someone else messing up names this morning because I'm used to Pacific time and that hour difference is like really real at 6:30 in the morning, I'm realizing. So, but I'm really happy to be here and appreciate the invitation. And so today I'll be sharing a little bit about the connection between tourism and economic vitality, and a little bit of the work that we've been doing here locally in Malheur County. And one of the reasons I like being part of these events is because tourism is part of the economic development mix in rural communities, but it's often a balancing act of how to make that work in harmony with just the people who live here and the environment. And so a big part of that for us is just being physically present throughout the region. We also do marketing and experience development. And I do like to start, just when I talk about our work and the economic impact of tourism, I like to start off with just kind of this overview of what is the tourism landscape in Oregon and like what infrastructure is there to help like plan and manage for it. And so up at the statewide level, we have Travel Oregon, which splits the state out into 7 regions, of which Eastern Oregon is this very large gold one, and that's the level that I work at. And while the regions are pretty standardized, at the local level, that's where it gets kind of interesting and a lot less standardized. And so we'll find ourselves working with all kinds of organizations. Chambers of commerce are really common. We work with John, who, conveniently wasn't here today. We work with municipalities a lot, economic development districts, and then a few communities do have their own designated local tourism organizations. So I share this just to say that tourism is kind of a sort of slippery sector. It touches a lot of things. It's like part economic development, part community development, part recreation, but it encompasses a lot of shared values that we have. And so we're going to take a quick look at just what's going on in Malheur County, what's the economic snapshot. And so I do acknowledge that we've got some friends from Idaho here today, but my focus is on Oregon, and so even though these numbers are Oregon focused, we recognize that visitors don't see like county and state borders, so we're always open to those partnerships. And so this slide here, you can see this captures the overnight visitor volume in Malheur County, and so you can see it's over the past 12 years, and you can see that dip during COVID, and then in the past few years, you all have seen quite an uptick actually in your overnight stays. And I don't know if this might be because maybe you just have more hotels, and so there's more places for people to stay. And so how that then translates to economic impact, one of the first places that we look in the industry to just see kind of that barometer is that just local tax receipts on those overnight stays. So every time someone books a hotel stay, there are taxes added on. There's a 1.5% statewide tax, and then there's usually also a local tax that will vary by municipality. And so I believe Malheur County itself doesn't have one, but the City of Ontario does have a 9% tax on those lodging fees that can be split between just tourism, marketing, promotions, and then just your general funds. So some of these tax receipts can be used for just roads, parks, really, whatever the community sees fit. But this is really just part of the picture. And so if, people coming here they're not just sleeping, they're doing other things too. So while accommodations are kind of the biggest bulk of visitor spending in your community, Food service, arts, other retail services, gas, like when you take all of those things into account, the economic impact is much larger. And that larger realm is really where the bulk of our work happens. And we use something called the 3-3 sleep approach to understand how to capture that economic impact from visitors. And basically what this boils down to is that for every day that a visitor spends in your community, there's 7 opportunities to capture those outside dollars. Everyone's looking for 3 meals usually. They're looking for 3 activities and 1 place to sleep. So these are all areas that EOVA works with local partners to kind of turn the dial and see how we might be able to capture more visitor dollars. And one of the main ways that we do that is just through, apart from marketing, is through like place-based experience development. So this means, we're not really trying to develop like kind of random new things. We want to really build upon each community's individual strengths and uniqueness, because we think, things that community loves make really good visitor experiences too. And we think it's, a win-win when those 2 things can reinforce each other. So recently, we've been able to partner with some people here in the room, hi Tom, and as well as John with the Ontario Area Chamber, to do some of that experience development. So last fall, or about a year ago, the Ontario Area Chamber of Commerce was awarded a grant from Travel Oregon to do some local tourism planning. And really just a big part of this was getting folks back together. I think after COVID, some of our networks have definitely become a little more thin. And so we held workshops in Nissa, Vail, and Ontario to kind of better understand just like where's the momentum right now, where are people excited, and like what new visitor experiences might we be interested in developing together. And so it was great to be able to see kind of the nuance between those communities and then just find the common threads that we could really put our weight behind. And so that group, they met in the fall through those 3 community meetings, and then we've also done some research and a tourism assessment and some stakeholder interviews, which have been brought together in like a nice summary report. And then we were lucky to be able to meet just last week to really focus in on some project concepts that those local partners want to move forward. And these are kind of the 4 areas that we zeroed in on. There's a lot of interest in outdoor recreation infrastructure, maybe particularly about cycling development in the near term. We recognize that a lot of folks are coming over here, but maybe not staying or staying long enough. We also are really interested in the development of and connection of cultural and heritage assets throughout the community. You all have a really rich history and just like so many stories to share, and visitors will really want to connect with that. So excited to see that one on the list. And then dark skies tourism. We can take for granted the night skies out in Eastern Oregon, but this is actually a kind of a novelty to some people. And in the tourism industry, we really like this project because it usually does guarantee an overnight stay. If you're going to see the stars, you're probably going to want to sleep somewhere after that. And then finally, there's interest in moving forward with some culinary and agritourism work, both because of the rich agricultural history here, but also because most people just love to eat, and so it's an easy connection point with visitors. So those projects have just been selected, and local leads have really raised their hand to say, yes, I want to spearhead this and move this forward. And so they're going to be looking for your partnership and support. And so if you're interested in being involved or just learning more, I invite you to reach out to me, and I can sort of direct you to the right person. And I've also put John Breidenbach on here if you want a more local connection or someone's office who you can easily walk into. So that's all I have to share today, and thank you again for having me.